Hi there, my name is Timothy Haller and I am an astrologer, and in these videos we're talking about the nature of the times. This is being shot on Monday, May 20th, 2024. Now, if you're into soul food astrology, underbelly astrology, the real, the true, please hit subscribe, thumbs up. You can hit the 3 dots beneath this video and press the thanks button to donate this video. These videos are made possible thanks to supporters and donators such as yourself. Thank you very much. Now, tail end of May 2024, it has been some real months, the last couple of months. By the way, not everybody experiences the collective astrology to the same degree. Particular souls are more sensitive to the astrology that I'm speaking to in these videos. My main gist is I do one-on-one astrology readings. I also teach astrology through my school at rosalilacommunity.com. There you can learn to give the most accurate soul-level astrology readings. That's my passion. That's what pays the bills. People are confused as if I get paid by YouTube or as if I'm living a Hollywood star type of life. No, I receive Hollywood star type of feedback and criticism, not the paycheck. So again, your support and feedback and sharing is what's allowing me to continue to do this work after 10 years of putting out this content for free. Now, yesterday, Mars, in his own sign of Aries, conjoined the moon's north node. This, in evolutionary underbelly soul food astrology, is like the spinal column of our collective evolution. So the ruler of the north node in Aries is Mars, conjoining the north node yesterday on the 19th, and this is the indication of breaking free, of pushing forward, of self-initiation, separation, autonomy. We're having to get back on track where so much could have swept us off our feet in the last couple of months. I've been speaking to these themes since the beginning of April when we had our last solar eclipse that was joined Chiron. Well, Mars is now going to join Chiron at the end of this month, May 29th. So there's some resounding evolutionary themes going on, not only now, but really unfolding and extending throughout the rest of this year. This is reflected in the transiting moon's north node Aries, the transiting south node in Libra. At any point in time, you can look at the polarity of the moon's nodes and see the collective evolution reflected in those themes, the same as you would in any birth chart. Now, one of the resounding themes many of us are looking at and working through this year is the reality of codependency. And we're sort of fishing for language where we have a lack of words here. We're also looking at the extent to which this pathology goes. Our parents, prior generations, nearly cross-culturally has been raised in patriarchal societies. Man goes to the factory, man fights the war, woman's supposed to be perfect partner. We know what the stereotypes are. These stereotypes can be very challenged this year. And there are other stereotypes that exist. Codependency we usually put on the woman, but of course it can go vice versa. Of course it can be the man who throws his jacket into the mud for the woman to walk across as if that were any sign of caring, to give away ourselves, to throw away ourselves. So this is some of what we're working through this year. And a similar baseline that I am observing is that there's this issue of total cowardice amongst all people. Like, we're afraid to go our own way. We're afraid to separate. We're afraid to be different. Why? Can we really allow the shame of how we appear to others affect the overall course direction of our entirely unique soul? This is why I'm so passionate about astrology. I want to validate each and every individual to live your life, to be who you are, which will be different from everybody else. But does everybody know that? No, the majority follows. This is evolutionary astrology. This is also science and what's been proven. There was a scientific experiment called the Milgram experiment where people were tested. If an authority figure says, shock this person, now shock them more, now shock them more, now shock them more. More than 60% of people, if told by an authority person, would kill another human being. That's a statistic There was the Ash experiment as well. So this isn't just my opinion that human beings are, for the most part, mindless drones. This is an objective fact. The majority of people, statistically speaking, are afraid to think for themselves. So think about how important of a theme this is, how resounding this is, how deep this goes, how many generations back this goes. What we're leaning into with Mars on the North Node, ruling the North Node, now joining Chiron, is some type of healing through separation, autonomy, independence. This also plays out very much physically and sexually. How do we get back to that spark, that energy, that will, that motivation to live? And for many of us, including myself, it's been a bit of a crisis. And yet, going it alone resounds in truth. We are born alone. We die alone. The birth chart reflects our entirely unique soul, coming from entirely unique, who knows how many thousands of lifetimes, gets fractally packed into the seed we're born into in this one. Okay, so alone is truth. Alone, not abandoned, is truth. And that's a part of some of what we can be working out now too. If we, as an evolutionary requirement collectively, which is what I'm verifying here, have to go it alone in some way, shape, or form. It's amazing when I start to say these things because I get so much feedback that's like, I'm not going to break up with my man. Did I say to? Is what I'm saying here that everybody's an individual and everybody's unique and everyone has to honor the beat of their own drum? Am I saying break up with your partner? I can't believe how much feedback I've gotten, people telling me that when I'm speaking, going it alone resounds with truth. You know what? People saying, no, I'm not going to follow your direction. I'm not going to break up with my partner when I've never said to do that. You know what that is? That's called an emotional confession. And the amount of emotional confession I've received back over the years of being a truth teller, it's just like, let me just tell you, there's no good paycheck in being a truth teller. You have to be entirely dedicated and devoted in your heart and truth and or to God in order to tell the truth. And this will be relevant when we talk about our Sagittarius full moon. But it's a thankless job. For example, I've had friends in highly codependent relationships. What am I going to say to them? Hey, your relationship's unhealthy. You don't seem to spend 5 minutes away from your partner without either one of you needing to completely control and possess the other. And it's all, am I going to say that to anyone in codependent? No, codependent people means, it's another way of saying an insecure relationship. And then these insecure people need external validation because on an unconscious level, they know it's not working. Right? So, oh, mom and dad and everybody else applaud us and we're going to get married and this, that, the other thing. I don't have to say anything. If I just show up and look and be just like, whoa, that's enough to be ostracized, right? That's enough to be kicked out. And it's just like, wow, I'm not saying give up on love. Codependency is not love. Codependency will murder your love. Codependency will murder your opportunity to have friends. If you get absorbed into another person, you yourself don't exist. Your value system does not exist. Nothing that you were will exist as you merge into another person. And that's the pathological codependency and narcissism that we are healing on a collective level, which means if you're halfway awake and aware, you're recognizing this is a collective theme. You're not leaving nasty comments on everything I post saying that I'm angry and unloving. Again, it's just like, really, that's going to be the feedback? That's an emotional confession. If you're upset by what I'm saying, you're avoiding the reality and the obviousness of what I'm stating. This is obvious stuff. This is the world we live in. But I know the world we live in. This is a world where I mentioned in my last video that I'm critical of other astrologers because they're not learning real astrology and they're misleading, like lemming leaders, whole crowds of people off of a cliff, and that the numbers of inauthentic astrologers are growing exponentially. I cannot tell you how many people complained about me complaining, said, you're a complainer, stop complaining about other astrologers. I've been gaslit that way my entire life. It's not complaining. I'm speaking up to the truth because I care. But we'll get to more of that when I have my Jupiter return into Cancer. Right now we're talking about Jupiter into Gemini. Mars conjoining Chiron the end of May through the second week of June is more hyper-reactive There is an unsettling undercurrent, and there is an acuteness to react, to respond, to be triggered, both in a way that can be acting to get away from what's hurting, to get away from our woundedness, or to stand up for this wound and what needs to be protected. And the point is, this is the hot potato to embrace. We would not want to judge reactivity as anything negative, as if being like an enlightened yogi and just passively going along with anything would be the right thing to do at all times, maybe sometimes. But just a few centuries ago, someone had the idea that we're going to start a religious sect where we flagellate ourselves in order to remove original sin. And then others had to go along and say, yeah, that's a great idea. Let's all start flagellating ourselves. Whereas for others, that may generate a reaction or a response, like, no, there's something wrong. But how do we handle that reaction? How do we handle that response? It is a delicate matter. Anger is a complex matter. It is less about right or wrong, but listening to, where is this reaction or response coming from? Why? Where may there be core woundedness coming from our particular past experience or another particular person's past experience? And what, therefore, do we need to honor about each other's healing journey? While these reactions and outbursts and stepping on each other's toes is likely, these triggers are all opportunities for healing. In order to embrace that healing, we therefore also must be okay with being a human and having triggers. Anger is such an important emotion for each and every one of us to be looking at right now. Traditionally, anger has been considered as, if you get angry, you're a failure. If you get angry, it better be in a boxing ring, even for men, and that's a new thing because, it wasn't that long ago, maybe a decade or two ago, that it was just uncommonly acceptable for men to be violent. And that's not what I'm saying. Violence is not okay. Like, violence is where we become possessed by anger and we do harm. I'm not saying anyone should be doing harm, but where anger comes up in ourself, why? We have to follow anger like a trail of breadcrumbs back to the source, back to the core. Like I've mentioned in my videos, hey, I've lived in Asheville for the last 4 years, and I've witnessed so many numerous cases of physical, emotional, and sexual abuse in paid workshops, right? So am I the one causing harm by speaking out to those things, or am I in a protective mode, right? That's what we're getting into. We need to be confident enough to protect ourselves. And by the way, this will be the last video that you see shot in Asheville because I'm moving from Asheville. And I'm not going to go into details, but there are places where the New Age movement are forming false light portals, right? So you get everybody who's just running white privilege, has a lot of money, now gets to call themselves a healer, a teacher, and there are particular hubs for these places. I knew going into 2024, I was either going to have to carve out my own path in Asheville, or I was going to have to split. I'm splitting. Where I'm going from here, I'm not going to disclose. The only hint I'll give is there'll be trees. All right. So what is it really? The North Node Aries is about coming into integrity. That's why I'm leaving Asheville. It's a lack of integrity. Oh my God, the bullshit, the pretending. Your parents pay for everything, so you think you're enlightened, and so now you're the one teaching courses and workshops. Get me the hell out of here. But it's not just Asheville, it's globally, it's YouTube, it's the internet. This stuff is exploding, and people are more interested in subscribing to the guy who's going to sell you how to manifest $1 million, because we're conditioned to put the American dream up here and put truth down here. Oh no, if we talk about the truth, that's considered complaining, but if we have really good dentists and our teeth are really bright and shiny, it's because we're spiritually manifested it. All I mentioned in the last video was that this is not real spirituality, it's Western bullshit, and I cannot believe the responses I got. I had to actually go back and re-listen to the video because I'm like, geez, I must have really said something mean or horrible, and it's like, wow, people can't handle anything. There is a actual issue of cowardice. Can we not take accountability for the fact that we're not fucking perfect as human beings? Those are the people that astrology is for. There's no point in me as an astrologer being in Asheville because most people here think they know everything already. Why? Why do you think you know everything already? Because your life is comfortable, because your parents paid? I mean, it's an actual toxic positivity, narcissistic situation. By the way, if toxic positivity were associated with any sign of the zodiac, it would certainly be Sagittarius, where we see our full moon coming up May 23rd. And this next couple weeks, it's Jupiter, 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 the ruler of Sagittarius. Now, the fluff and utter bullshit astrologers that you all get mad at me calling out are saying that this is the most magical time of year. And what I'm letting you know is that this is actually the continuation of male-dominant patriarchy that puts Jupiter up on a pedestal as if good boys and good girls are showered with presents and bad boys and bad girls get coal on Christmas. That's not how life works. So while it may be true with this full moon ruled by Jupiter is going to be joined Venus at the last degree of Taurus, this can be a really amazing full moon. Abundance, new opportunities, new people, richness. It can also simply be an illumination of what we consider valuable. All right. It's lazy astrology to say, Jupiter is coming around to Venus, or vice versa. So every single person is going to be receiving Christmas presents right now. No, that's not real astrology. Jupiter's the planet of awareness that expands. I tried to find my living location when Jupiter transited my moon. Nope, didn't happen. Just learned out about my moon, my core identity. That's actually some of the most redundant teaching I give in these videos, is we're not trying to demonize the moon, aka our ego, aka the divine feminine. We need to be listening to our own and others' feedback, and the most missing and needed medicine on the planet at this time is simply showing up and caring. How does that sound? I have a million solutions for you. Jupiterian, Sagittarius, you're too complainy. You should be positive. You should be more smiley. No, the way we support people is we show up and we simply listen. And even if we don't know or don't have a solution, that doesn't matter. That's not mostly what people need. All you can say is it's going to be okay, even if you don't know it's going to be okay. Because if you show up and listen to somebody and then say it's going to be okay, all you're doing is showing up in an authentically caring way. And oftentimes, that's simply what people need more than anything else. Okay, so this last week, tying up this whole bumpy period that began in April. Next week, Venus. Last week it was Sun, Uranus, Jupiter. This next week it's Venus, Jupiter, Uranus. Okay, so there's still curveballs, bumps, especially to do with the theme of Taurus, which can have a lot to do with our wallet, money, resources, environment. You know, there can be these curveballs thrown where it's just like, oh, geez, I guess I'm going to have to earn money in a different way, or I guess my pace is changing. And again, this can also be tremendously illuminating. Well, what is it that I really care about? What is it that I really value? Do I really want to work this job if it's super bending me out of shape? Or is there something that I'm passionate about? This, again, is the theme of the day. It's not about going it alone. You have to split from every person on the planet, as if I ever uttered those words. We all need people. What we're being collectively tested, the evolutionary requirement, what's forcing us to shape the materials at hand is to achieve a balance between the need for love, connection, sharing, and collaboration without sacrificing our integrity, without sacrificing ourselves. You know what's one of the easiest ways to measure someone's integrity? Do they do what they say they're going to do? Because I honestly, to me, friends are rare. To me, friends are more valuable than gold. But my friends are people that are high integrity people. When I see somebody that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and they cancel, I put distance between me and that person, because it's not just a flakiness that plays out in terms of meeting on specific dates or, hey, they got a flat tire once or twice. It is a core lack of integrity. It's someone who's just going to change their whole direction, their whole philosophy, what they're all about, circumstantially, depending on the people, the situation. You know what that is? It's a fake person. It's why I'm leaving Asheville. And I hate to be, hating on Asheville so much, because there's really wonderful people here and there's really good things going on. But I'm going to be honest about the fact that the negative light portal is growing exponentially. I would have to be absolutely insane to say, oh yeah, this is like where you want to go if you're really in integrity. No, if you have no integrity at all, come to Asheville, come to Sedona. You can live the rest of your life as an escape artist and be revered for it. Okay. Toxic positivity gets correlated with Jupiter. The full moon in Sagittarius every year tends to come in June time. Can be a pretty debatey, philosophical, it's kind of like Fox News. Can get a little bit exaggerated, a little bit carried away. So let's bring it back. Again, there's such a beautiful signature with Venus on Jupiter at the time of this full moon. Let's illuminate our hearts. Let's create the temple space in here. And let's fill this space with everything that reminds us of who we are, everything that reminds us of what we value and fills us up and makes us feel truly rich. I love to give the example of the Buddhist monk for Taurus. And in fact, the Buddha himself was enlightened in Taurus season, where he was trying to get enlightened the hard-ass Scorpio path until a little girl brings him a bowl of rice, and he comforts his body, his stomach, his senses. That raises his level of consciousness and he achieves enlightenment. What is that bowl of rice for you? Right? That's the symbol of Taurus. Something so simple, so easy that we missed it is the actual source of nutrition that's going to bring us all the way up and out in a way that we don't have to go back anymore. We don't have to go back to starvation. We don't have to go back to feeling poor or feeling misunderstood. That's what all of this change is about. Where are we going to be appreciated? What do we appreciate? And how can we connect the dots between who and what we appreciate and where that's happening so we can start to exchange this? Venus rules all principles of exchange, all principles of resonance. That's why Venus rules money, because it's an energy exchange. So this Jupiter-Venus is like, what's really, really yummy? What's really going to taste us, fill us up? What is that particular sense of taste? And at this time, it can be revolutionary. This can be like eureka, it can be discovery, and these things can fall into our hands. But I'm not going to sell that or say that to all of you like a how to manifest $2 million by clicking your heels together type of bullshit. Because that's not how life in the universe works. Jupiter conjoining Venus can also simply be illuminating what the heck's going on in our relationship. Do we have at the center of our lives what is most tasty, valuable, and meaningful for us? Jupiter is simply going to illuminate that and give us the opportunity to expand that. For some of us, the only way to expand is to repot. We've got to expand out by changing the relational dynamics, the environment, the scene, the setting in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so we got planets aspecting asteroids that are highlighting similar themes. Again, Mars joined the moon's north node yesterday, the 19th. Mars will square asteroid Vesta the 26th and asteroid Ceres on the 28th. And this can bring up this, how to stay on track and not lose our motivation, and how can we care and listen and be able to create a reciprocal exchange. There's a lot of pendulum swinging back and forth, and I step on your toes and you step on my toes, and you're not really listening to me. That's this dynamic. It's reflecting the themes in the moon's nodes. Wherever the moon's nodes are, the north node is where we're having new experiences. We're having to put in a conscious effort. Do Aries. Jump out of a plane. Go your own way. Dare to challenge the group or the authority or whatever fashion trend is totally inauthentic. You are a warrior. You can be yourself. And the South Node Libra doesn't say we stop listening. Too much Aries without any Libra, we become arrogant assholes. Too much Libra without any Aries, we lose ourself and our identity. This year is about finding ourself again. Not losing relationship, not losing love, not losing collaboration. How can we be autonomous, equal, and reciprocal in relationship, which means everybody's got to do their own thing. The analogy is like a crew on a ship. There's one person at the steering wheel. There's one person at the mast. There's one person at the bottom deck. You know, that's real life. We have to find out what freedom needs we have, what desires we have, because that is non-different from our individuality. And then how can we function in a collaborative or supportive or loving way without stepping on, squashing, or sacrificing those root desires, need for freedom or identity? Traditionally, that's been called love. Traditionally, that's been called Christianity. It creates generation after generation of pathology that wants you and me to sacrifice ourselves in order to appear nice and pretty. Again, even the feedback I've received in these videos, it's like, psh, wow, my friends, my goodness. Do we really want to be fake until the day we die? You know what I think? It may seem like an easy life to bullshit till the day you die, but I think when you die, there's no escaping truth. Do we want to keep putting the truth off here? Just be clear, be out with it. Okay. So a lot of bumpiness, again, changes of direction, money, livelihood, environments. We're coming back to richness in ourself. We're rediscovering what it is that we love so we can create an altar in our hearts. And again, Jupiter toxic positivity just wants to say it's all good, it's all good, it's all good, it's all good. We're perfect, we're perfect, we're perfect. Bullshit. Anyone that is just touting that toxic positivity is emotionally confessing that they're not ready to be real. Now things are going to smooth out a bit. I've been saying that for the last couple videos, but it's like, Sun Venus is still tumbling over Jupiter and Uranus into June. Fortunately, once we get into June, Mercury moves into his own sign of Gemini, where he remains through June 17th. Jupiter enters Gemini at the end of this month on Saturday, the 25th, through July of 2025. Now, we can speak to this even though Jupiter's not quite there yet. Is there something you want to learn? Are you going back to school? Is there something you want to teach? Jupiter likes being in Gemini. Genius, multi-talented, let's do it all, let's teach it all, let's go back to school. So that's going to be a lot of this next year, mid-2024 into 2025. Time to be the student, time to be the peer, time to put out there your ideas. Write them down on your picket sign. Go out there with your opinion. Again, this full moon is one of those full moons. This is what I have to say. This is what I want others to understand. That's good. We need to put that out there, and we need to take turns with these things. These are the things that Venus rules. For those of you who are into Eastern philosophy, these things are really important. If we don't hear one another, are we even connecting? All right. So this is exciting stuff because as we close out May and go into June, it's going to be Mercury joining Jupiter in the early degrees of Gemini. All right, so this is going to be this revelation, and it's like, oh, new people, new interests, new connection, and we're playing the telephone operator god. It's like, cool, I've got all of these diverse things that I need to do. I need to build that astrology school. I need to build a brand new community now. And hey, I need friends for support, and I need to be traveling around as well. So, where are the places I can be traveling, and it's like telephone operator. We get to actually do more when Jupiter goes into Gemini, and it's a time where we can really excel in both our teaching and our learning. Technology can expand, media and creativity can really be expanding, and I think we can be getting a foreshadowing of all of that in this particular full moon, May 23rd. All right, that's it for now. Again, folks, thumbs up, subscribe, ring the bell. I'm going to have to be more redundant with this advertising type of stuff. I've never been good at it, but when Jupiter goes into Gemini, get ready for it, folks. I'm going to be offering a Q&A public on YouTube. And if you got a question about your chart, astrology, or anywhere in between, you can join my Q&A at rosalilacommunity.com. Right now, that's more of a private group. For $24, you can get a mini birth chart reading from me when we meet for our Q&A. Or you might as well join my astrology school where you get hundreds of hours of videos. What does it mean to have planets square the moon's nodes? If you got a planet square the moon's nodes in your birth chart and you don't know what that means, please pay the $36 to get that once in a life, going to change your life from this point moving forward information available in my astrology school. Also dropping a little mini hint now, you may want to subscribe to my astrology school for $36 a month. That includes entrance into the monthly Q&A where you can have a mini chart reading from yours truly. Because if you purchase that subscription now, you're going to be locked into that price. And the value of what I'm putting out there is increasing, so the price may be increasing in the near future as well. So if you sign up for my astrology school at $36 a month, you will get locked into the $36 a month price when the price more than likely goes up later on in this year. All right, I will be seeing you in June in a totally different, undisclosed, but it's got trees environment. I hope it is as magical, as blessed, as opportunistic as this full moon can be for you and for your beloveds. As always, please do take care.